All right, folks, we have made it. Some of us have been waiting for 4 years. Some of us have been waiting for a few months. Some are waiting as they watch this video. The clock is ticking. We've made it to the World Cup 2026 in North America, being hosted by the U.S., by Mexico, and by Canada. Um, my hope for this, I'm making this for the casual sports fan, one that I used to be, who is interested in supporting the U.S. men's national team for the World Cup this summer, but they don't know anything. And so this is your primer, your educational tool to quickly come up to speed on what you need to know, who we're playing, who do we have, what are expectations, etc., etc. First, we'll start out with the tournament format. So this year is actually a little different than the past. This is the first year that they've expanded the tournament. But before we get into that, so the tournament is consisted of 12 groups of four. I'm sure if you've watched soccer tournaments before, you're aware that it starts in a group stage format with four teams in the group. The top two teams in each group will advance, and then there will be 8 third place finishers across the tournament that will also advance. So that's important to remember. Hopefully for the U.S., that will not be something we need to know, but there's a chance if you're a third place team in your group, you will advance. And one addition to this expanded tournament, I don't think I have it on the next slide. When you start the knockout stage after the group stage, the knockouts are the top 32 teams. In the previous, it's the top 16 teams. So in the past, you're 1 win away from the quarterfinals. This year, for the first time, you are 2 wins away from the quarterfinals. Some World Cup history for the U.S. men's national team. So last World Cup in 2022, we finished second place in our group, and we lost to Netherlands 3-1 in the round of 16. Again, that was the first game of the knockouts. Again, that would be the second game this year. The tournament before that, we did not qualify, very famously, failed to qualify. And the two before that, we've gotten out of the group stage and we lost in the first round of knockouts. So the last time we failed to get out of the group stage was 2006. And then our best finish in history was we got to the quarterfinals in 2002. So we've only advanced past the round of 16 once in our entire history. And so that would take us winning 2 knockout games this year. Our opponents in our group, in order of when we play them, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey, or as you probably know, Turkey. We'll start with Paraguay and just walking through them. So we've played Paraguay recently. We played them in November of last year. We were without, our top 7 players, and you could say the same. They don't have their full A squad World Cup team as well, and that goes along, with the other 2 teams that we'll talk about. And we had 1 guy start and 2 guys who played who are not even on the World Cup roster. In that game, we won that game, and Paraguay is very tough. They're very defensive minded. They're going to sit back a lot, and we're going to have the ball a lot. I would say. In their 16 World Cup qualifying matches, they only scored 13 goals while they only conceded 10. So, very defensively minded team is Paraguay, and they don't no top guys who you need to be aware of who are playing in Europe or on the best teams and playing high volume of minutes. Australia is a similar way. There's not many top guys who are playing in the top leagues, high volume of minutes. Their best players are playing in the Bundesliga or Championship, but again, not like everyday starters who you need to know. And similar to Paraguay, they're fast or physical. Again, I would expect we'll have the ball a lot. We played them also recently. We played them in October of last year. Same thing. We didn't have our full team. They didn't have their full team. We won 2-1. And one thing of note that could carry over and be noteworthy is they went after Christian Pulisic very hard. They played him very physical. Lots of frustrations from the U.S. players about that. And Pulisic actually left the game early because he was injured from a hard tackle from Australia. So that could be a noteworthy thing that carries on to this World Cup match. And then Turkey. So Turkey they will be our toughest competition in this group. I would guess either we will win the group or they will win the group. Turkey Their top tier talent is legit top tier talent. Keenan Yildiz, who is playing with Juventus, he's 21 years old. Arda Güler is playing with Real Madrid. Those two young guys, both 21 years old, they've been starting, playing high volume minutes all year long at such a young age. Super impressive. I mean, you could argue those are the two best players in our group, and I think you could make a good argument that they are. There's, maybe Weston McKennie with the U.S. you could argue is also in that tier. But Turkey, very talented team. They will be our toughest competition. Again, we also happened to play them within the last year. We played them in June last year, and I wouldn't. We lost this match. There were 6 guys who played in this game who were not even on the World Cup roster for us, and very ugly game. This will be an awesome game. This is our third group stage game, so it will be a massive, massive game. We will have to go in there needing a result. So expectations for this U.S. team, we've played well, generally speaking, last year. I mean, there's ups and downs, obviously, in trying to figure things out. Paraguay, again, I think Paraguay and Australia will be tight games. I would expect us to have possession a lot in those games, especially the Paraguay game. And it's just a matter of, can we break down their defense and get the ball in the net, and counter or defend the counterattacks well. Those will be important in both those games, and being a physical presence against them. Turkey, again, is going to be really tough. That's going to be an awesome game. Again, it's the third game of this group stage, so it's going to be the most crucial one. I mean, you could argue they're all crucial. They are important. But going to the third game, you're going to know we need this result to win the group, or this result to advance. And so having that up against the toughest team in our group is going to be tough. I think it's fair to say we could be the favorites. I don't really know what that's going to look like. It's not wild for us to say we're going to be the favorites. Again, Turkey's top talent is very talented. I think across the board, though, balance-wise, I think we're the more balanced team and talented team across the board, but it's going to be a good game. So now we'll go into our roster. We'll start with our head coach, Mauricio Pochettino. So Pochettino is new in command. He took over about just over a year ago, so he's had a very quick turnaround to get this team in shape. Usually coaches will be, head coaches for the entire World Cup cycle, which is 4 years, and he did not have that luxury. So Mauricio is from Argentina. This is his first international coaching job. He's coached at the club level his entire career. He's managed PSG, Chelsea. He took Tottenham to the Champions League final, and the Champions League, if you're not aware, is the tournament of all the best teams in all of Europe. So he's gone to the final of that tournament with Tottenham, and he's coached the best of the best. I mean, players that even casuals know: Harry Kane, Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. So like I said, he's had a very quick turnaround, and he's reshaped this team's culture. His focus is on high intensity, and he loves trusting his players. He'll empower them to take ownership on the pitch, to be creative, to roam, to have freedom. And one thing that Poach has instilled is that he doesn't care what your name is. He doesn't care what your reputation is. He doesn't care where you're playing. Everybody has to earn their spot. And so that's, a lot of U.S. fans take complaint to that. I personally love it. And under him, I'm not sure if this is totally updated with our last few games, but he's got a winning record. And again, I'm not sure if that's an accurate number, but generally speaking, 10-1-7. Let's say that's a general stat. It's been okay under his tenure, but I would say a lot of it is him just trying to learn players, learn the system, tinker with different tactics. And so I like Pochettino. I'm excited to see what he'll do. And again, he's got a great track record coaching at the best clubs, best tournaments, best players. So before we dive into just a quick overview of the players and who you need to know, I did want to look at Americans abroad and examine Americans playing at the top leagues in Europe. So if we look at 4 top leagues, we have the Bundesliga in Germany, Ligue 1 in France, Serie A in Italy, and then obviously you all know the Premier League in England. So I wanted to examine last World Cup in 2022. This is kind of an image of the Americans playing in those top 4 leagues. You see Pulisic, Tim Way you may recognize. He scored the opening goal against Wales in the last tournament in the group stage. So we had 5 players playing above 50% of their team's available minutes, and we had 2 players with more than 5 goal contributions all year long. So, quick glance, this is 2022. And then if I go to now, 2026, here is an image, a quick glance at the Americans playing in those top leagues in the world. So we have now 17 players playing above 50% of the minutes. A lot of guys playing even above 70%, 80%. And then we have 9 players with more than 5 goal contributions. So just a massive jump up from 4 years ago. And there's so many guys who are maybe just playing a few minutes or playing high volume minutes, but not, goal contributors. But I'll show you again just a quick glimpse. Just a huge difference of talent the last 4 years. So big improvement for the U.S. So we'll start with our roster going through the striker position. And Fuller and Balogun. Balogun is a guy you may not know. You may have never heard of him. He's a guy you're going to need to get to know. He will be our starting striker at the 9 spot for us in this tournament. And Balogun is a dual national is what they call him. So he's English, Nigerian, and American. Between now and the last World Cup, he committed to playing for the U.S. national team. So in international soccer, when you commit after a certain amount to play for a team, you can't change your mind. And so he committed to play for the U.S. If you hear him talk, you'll notice he has an English accent because he grew up over in England. He's playing with Monaco in Ligue 1, and he is playing great this year. 24 years old. It's his first World Cup. And he has 25 plus goal contributions this season. He's a top 5 goal scorer in Liga 1. So, I mean, he's playing at a super high level. Ricardo Pepi is another guy to know. You'll for sure see him. So we typically play with 1 striker on the field at a time. If we played with 2, I would expect they both start, but that's not what we do. Pepi, another young American, 23 years old. He's playing in Netherlands with PSV. And he's had 16 goals in 26 league appearances. He also had 3 goals in 5 Champions League matches. Again, Champions League is the top tournament in all of the world. Best teams in Europe playing. So he had 3 goals in 5 appearances there. And it's expected that he'll make a move to the Premier League this summer. And then Haji Wright playing the championship. He actually just helped his team earn promotion to the Premier League. So he'll be playing in one of those top 4 leagues next year. And I believe he was the 2nd best goal scorer in that league, and this will be his 2nd World Cup with the U.S. So overall, striker's position is a super strength for us. Last World Cup was a big weakness, but there's no questions about our striker position. Even Haji Wright as a 3rd striker, who you may not even see the pitch all tournament, there's high confidence in him based on how he played this year. Now we'll go to the attacking midfielders. Christian Pulisic is a name you obviously know, the face of the U.S. soccer over here. 27 years old. He's playing with AC Milan in Italy. I'll just quickly say he started the year off super hot, playing at a world-class level. Lots of goal contributions, impacting the game. He suffered injury here and there, then kind of fell out of the lineup. Milan overall as a team has not played good this year. And so he's not been in form recently. He's not been playing, 90-minute games. And hasn't scored all calendar year, I believe. He just had an assist 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of people who are concerned about it. I personally am not. I think when you're at the World Cup high stage, you're going to turn it on regardless. And he doesn't seem concerned either. Malik Tillman is another guy who you may not know. He is another dual nat. So he's German, born and raised. I believe his father is American. This will be his first World Cup. He's playing Bayer Leverkusen in Germany in the Bundesliga. Similar to Pulisic, he started the year super hot his first year with the team. They made a coaching change midway through the year, and he just had a hard time meshing in the new tactical scheme with the new coach, and he's fallen out of the starting lineup at his club level recently. I like him. It's kind of to be determined what his impact will be in the World Cup, but I think he's a guy who will be on the pitch. You'll see him, Malik Tillman. And then 3 other guys who will come off the bench or start. Alex Zendejas, who's playing in Mexico with Club de America. Brendan Aronson, his 2nd World Cup. He's playing in the Premier League with Leeds. And then Gio Reyna, who's playing in the Bundesliga. And it's his 2nd World Cup as well, only 23 years old. Aronson, you'll probably see him. You may recognize him. He's an Energizer Bunny. Gio Reyna, super talented. If we see him, he'll make impact, may get 15 minutes here or there. He's kind of a interesting enigma of he struggles to get minutes at his club. Injuries happen, but he's so talented. And even though he struggles to get minutes, people still cannot deny his talent. So those are our guys up front on the attack behind our nines. And then we'll continue in the midfield, so sort of a holding midfield position. So we'll start with Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie's second World Cup, he's playing with Juventus. I would confidently say, and I think every men's national team fan would agree, that McKennie is our best player by far right now. Pulisic is the face of the team, but McKennie has outperformed him at every level. He's playing at an elite level, and he's played like that all year long at Juventus. And he's our most skilled passer. He's super versatile. He will play in the midfield. He will play defense in the midfield. He will get up in the box. He can play out wide on defense. He played striker this year at Juventus in one game. Super versatile. And again, I think he's our most important player and our best player. Tyler Adams, playing the Premier League with Bournemouth. Tyler is a nasty defender. He is intense and he's tough. He's got this junkyard dog toughness. I would expect him that he'll be the captain of our team. And in this, he'll be in the midfield. He'll play more of a defending role back at the back line. And McKennie will freely get up and kind of roam around to get up in the box on the attack. But super talented midfield right here with these two guys. And then Sebastian Berhalter and Christian Roldan. I would say Roldan, both these guys in the MLS. Roldan, second World Cup. Didn't play last time, I believe. He's more of a locker room fit. He's a good player, but he's more of a locker room addition. I wouldn't expect to see him on the pitch. And then Berhalter, young guy, 25 years old. It's his first World Cup. He's been great for the national team within the last year, and he's been great at the club level too. I love him. He's kind of similar to Tyler Adams, where he's a junkyard dog, got this junkyard dog toughness. He's great at set pieces. I wouldn't be surprised to see him move to Europe, maybe to the Championship in England this summer. But again, he's more similar to Tyler Adams, where he'll be on kind of the defensive. Maybe he'll get in the box a little bit. But I would expect to see Berhalter before Roldan come on. Now off to our wingback. So wingback position is the defensive back line, but they're on the outside, kind of acting as wingers as well. So they'll get up in the attack and also come back and play defensively. Anthony Robinson. All three of these guys impacted and played in the last World Cup. I believe all three started as well, actually. Anthony Robinson playing with Fulham in the Premier League. It's his second World Cup. 28 years old. His nickname is Jedi, so you may hear, if you hear Jedi Robinson, it's Anthony Robinson. Elite speed, elite work rate, super competitive. And he was a 2024 U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year. And this was a few weeks ago, maybe months ago, but he's got some interest from Manchester United and Arsenal. He battled injuries throughout the year, so that I think that simmered it a little bit. But that is worthy to note. Super talented wingback. When fully healthy, when fully in form, he's one of the better wingbacks in the Premier League, in my opinion. And then Tim Weah. Tim Weah is with Marseille in France. Another versatile player similar to Weston McKennie, where he can play. So last World Cup, he played in the attack for us up front. But at his club level this year, he's been playing at the wingback position on defense. But he'll get up on the attack super fast. And you'll see him kind of everywhere on the pitch. Serginho Dest. So Serginho, second World Cup, only 25 years old. Super, again, elite. He's an elite dribbler. He will consistently take on defenders in the one-on-one. He'll carry the ball in dangerous runs. He's a very creative threat, capable of taking guys one-on-one and beating them and playmaking out of that. So big Serginho Dest fan. He's fun to watch. I would expect he'll be starting out wide for us. And then Alex Freeman, Max Arfson, and Joe Scally. Alex Freeman's probably the guy to know out of all these guys. He's only 21 years old. It's his first World Cup. He's been in MLS, but he just transferred to Villarreal in Spain. in Liga 1, La Liga. And I guess I didn't mention La Liga earlier with those top 4 European leagues. But he's in Spain now. He hasn't been playing consistently the last few months just because of that transfer. But he's super talented. He's a guy to know in the future. And he's comfortable in the wingback spot, but he could also play center back for us. So some versatility from Alex Freeman. So center backs for us. Chris Richards we'll start off with. Chris Richards is a name to know. Another possibility to be a captain for us. He was not in the World Cup team last tournament. And again, Chris Richards, you could argue, is maybe he's for sure one of our better players. Is he our most important? He actually may be more important than Weston McKennie. He's playing with Crystal Palace in the Premier League. He's an everyday starter there. He's super valuable in the air on set pieces, and he was the 2025 U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year. The reason I say he's probably the most valuable is because our center back position, our back line, is our weakest link on this roster. There are so many question marks about who's going to start outside of Chris Richards. Everybody knows he is a lock to be in the center of that back line. Who is next to him? Nobody really knows. Tim Ream, second World Cup. He played with Fulham for about a decade in England between the Premier League and the Championship. He was on a World Cup starter for us last tournament. He is 38 years old though, and so he's super talented at passing out of the back and helping him build up play. But what is his speed and quickness at 38 years old? So that's a concern. He's a trusted veteran on the team by the staff and the players. So kind of a TBD on Tim. I like Tim Ream, but he's 38. Austin Trusty is another one I'm highlighting here. He plays with Celtic in the Scottish Premiership. It's his first World Cup. He was super important to them as they won their title this season. He was an everyday center back for them. And he's played in the Championship and he's played in the Champions League. So he brings some experience to this back line. And then Mark McKenzie playing in France. He's had a good year as an everyday starter in France's top league. And then Miles Robinson, I would say, is probably more of a depth piece, coming from the MLS. And he's actually just recently injured. He's healthy now, but coming off an injury. But yeah, these are center backs. And then goalkeepers. So Matt Freese and Matt Turner. I have them both here because it's kind of a TBD on who's going to start. I would expect it'll be Matt Freese. It's his first World Cup. Matt Turner, you probably recognize from the last World Cup. He was our starter every match in that tournament. So he was playing in Europe and just struggled to get playing time. So he transferred over to the MLS this year. He's been great. He's been great at the MLS this year. He's leads the league in goals saved in that metric, and he's actually multiple goals ahead of the second best keeper in the league, and actually a lot of goals ahead of Matt Freese, who will probably be our starter. So when Turner struggled to get playing time at his club, Matt Freese entered as the new starter for us. He's playing with New York City in the MLS. He's been good for us. He's super talented at penalty saves. I know it's super niche, but he really is. There's confidence in him in that role, and he's shown it to us at the national team level. So I think Freese will start because he just played 11 out of the last 12 games for us. Turner got a start last camp, and I think we allowed 4 or 5 goals. It wasn't strictly his fault, but that's obviously not ideal. But Turner is outplaying him at a super high level at his club, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And then Chris Brady, young goalkeeper, no reason need to know him. So that's a quick overview of our team. I'm just gonna rip through kind of what an ideal lineup may look like, and I'm gonna give you 2 options. So the first one is Balogun up top, Tillman next to Pulisic. And then we've kind of got, so it's kind of a 3-4-2-1 situation, except so Robinson and Dest are wing backs. So they're going to, at times, we'll kind of see 5 men back here with them dropping back in defense with our 3 center backs. And then again, Adams, super talented defender. He'll kind of stay here, and McKinney's kind of got freedom to go up. So this is an image of what a potential possibility could be, and then I'll show you another option. So most of this is stayed the same. I've added Tim Weah here. Tim Weah he's been an everyday starter with his club in France outside in the wingback position. McKenzie has as well with his club in France. And then Trusty is a natural lefty, and he's been playing this position with his club in Scotland. And then again, Turner could start too. And to give you an idea of what that kind of looks like, there's we don't really know who our starting 11 will be. We're very confident Jedi Robinson will be out here starting. Balgun's a starting 9. Pulisic starting up here. Based off the roster and the depth that comes with it, people are thinking that McKinney has been playing up here with his club. He's been playing over here with his club. He's played up here with his club. People think McKinney will play right here, more defensive focused, with the ability to get up next to Adams. Again, Adams is a lock. Richards is a lock. But as you see, these two other center backs, we're not going to know until the first game who's starting there. And I think goalie will know by then because we have 2 friendlies coming up before then. And then again, Weston and Dest and Weah are kind of competing for a spot. I would expect Dest to have it and Weah still be utilized in other ways. And then, there really should be another name up here. I just couldn't figure out who it would be. If you asked me 4 months ago who's going to start up here, I would say 100% Malik Tillman. Now I'm like, well, I don't know. McKinney's been playing really good up there, but who do we start here? I don't know if we did that, so he's got to stay here. Are the other options better than Tillman? I don't know. So you kind of get an idea there. We know half the lineup. The other half is stay tuned. And then lastly, our schedule. So here's kind of an image of what the World Cup's going to look like. So it'll start on Thursday, June 11th. We'll get 2 games that day. And then Friday, June 12th, at 8 p.m. Central, the U.S. kicks off against Paraguay in Los Angeles. And then we're kind of ripping it from then. So four games essentially every day throughout the whole month of June. The next U.S. game will be on Friday, June 19th. It's a day game, so 2 p.m. Central against Australia. And then a week later, on Thursday, June 25th, back in Los Angeles, huge game against Turkey at 9 p.m. Central. So it's a late Thursday night one for all the marbles to see where we finish in our group. My expectations, kind of already talked about them. Well, I guess I haven't set the expectations for how far we should go, but I like our team. There's guys who are playing at elite, top level. There's some guys who are not really in form, but I like their talent, and I think they'll turn it on. We have an experienced group from our last World Cup. We've got some young guys. I like our coach. I'm hopeful. I'm a optimist. I think we could realistically win the group. For sure have to be top 2 in the group. And for sure have to win 1 knockout game. And, a successful tournament is to get to the quarterfinals. So to win 2 knockout games. Anything after that is kind of house money. If we win 1 knockout game and lose the round of 16, is it a failure? Yes, but I don't know. To not win a knockout game is an absolute failure. To not get out of the group is an absolute failure. The goal should be to win 2 knockout games. But super excited for the tournament. I will be watching soccer all June. If you have any questions on players, on anything else, feel free to hit me up. And